Hey everyone, Harry here with the late breaking Friday afternoon news about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now, I think he's well known to just about everyone. He's really been the flashpoint of the kind of ongoing dispute with the administration about whether or not they would even give due process. He, of course, was mistakenly sent down, a so-called administrative error, to CCOT when a lawyer for the administration said so in court. The Attorney General fired that lawyer, a 15-year veteran of the DOJ, for not representing Donald Trump's interests zealously enough. And the DOJ, for whatever reason, dug in really deeply and has had a series, you might want to call them, back and forth with Judge Zinnes, who's been handling a habeas petition for Abrego Garcia. But I'm not even sure if they are back and forth, because in many instances, DOJ was saying nothing. And they also had a shifting series of rationale, including the assertion that Abrego Garcia, who has no criminal record in the States, was a really bad customer, implied he was, one of the sort of nasty of the nasties of MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, and had been essentially a gangbanger here. And the notion was some version of no harm, no foul. In other words, they sent him down. They sent him down to a hellhole. He was the one who attracted the most attention, and a senator from Maryland, Chris Van Hollen, we had a YouTube with him about just this, went down to meet with him. That was the only time anyone had been in communication with him at all. Meantime, back in the States, his wife had been fighting hard on his behalf. He's got a lot of sympathetic parts to his bio, including an autistic child. Anyway, as most of you know, this was the most impacted fight. And here's what the United States did today. They brought him home. All the talk about, oh, we can't possibly do it, and he's now under the jurisdiction of President Bukele in El Salvador, and Bukele went along with the story as well in the Oval Office. Turns out they could do it, and boom, they did do it, but they did it in order for him to return to face federal criminal charges. So this, I think, really was the United States effort to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. They were really on the losing end of the fight in court and in the public arena about Abrego Garcia, in part because they changed their tune so much. They had said that if he were brought back, they would immediately deport him again to another country, and they were really dug in very deeply. And their posture here, I had a Substack about this today, really varied from the one they've been pretty well pushed into in more recent cases, where they are capitulating some to court orders, especially for people like Abrego Garcia, who were mistakenly deported. But sometime while this is all going on, they initiate a criminal investigation in the Middle District of Tennessee. Now, we had heard that in 2022, Abrego Garcia was stopped in a traffic stop, and he's driving a big car that has 8 other people in it. He explains to the officer he's transporting them from construction site to their home or something, kind of a big set of workers. They let him go. Actually, he's got a suspended or expired license, and they give him a warning, but they let him go about all these folks. And that had been one of the facts kind of in the background. Well, the government got busy and found a number of co-conspirators, in essence, people who are ready to say that most of them, I think, are ready to say, I was an unlawful migrant and I was driven by Abrego Garcia from typically Texas after crossing the border into the interior. More importantly, they've also found a man who is doing already 30 months in a federal jail in Florida. I think his name is Hernandez Reyes, and he says, I ran the thing. I ran this taxi service, and I did it for 10 years. And Abrego Garcia, at least occasionally, it's not so clear from the indictment, drove for me and I hired him. Now, you tell those facts to a federal prosecutor and they think conspiracy. And the federal law of conspiracy is extremely potent for a few reasons, but the main one is everybody who joins a conspiracy is liable for the entire course of conduct of every co-conspirator or of the entire conspiracy. So what we do know, they put together an indictment that has two counts. One is a substantive count that on such and such a day he transported unlawful migrants, and presumably some among the 5 cooperating witnesses will say, yes, I was one of those. But the big one is conspiracy, and so it can recite from 2015 to 2024. He was this conspiracy. He joined the conspiracy, not clear when he joined it, but thereafter he's officially, if they can prove it, criminally liable for everything. So there's all this stuff in the indictment, and then Attorney General Bondi, in her inimitable, and I really shouldn't use that word, in her really improper and unethical way, dirtying him up much more, saying these facts and others. But you have things about soliciting kiddie porn or firearms or other bad deeds. It's just not clear. Is that the conspiracy or is that Abrego Garcia? But with this indictment, the U.S. basically is looking to just reverse the narrative, have it be, instead of about their own failings in due process and granting it to Abrego Garcia, a debate that they were losing very badly, it seems to me, in the public arena. Instead, now it becomes about Abrego Garcia's crimes. It's actually alleged in the indictment. I'm not sure what the basis is or what it means, but that he is a member of Tren de Aragua. So it is, substantiating or used to substantiate the overall narrative that Trump, which Bondi, of course, referenced in her press conference, has been saying about what, a terrible customer he is. And it's the big subject changer. Now it's all about him and his possible criminal conduct. His lawyers are all out there saying, this is unfair. They reversed engineered it. Look at all the things they did. That will be the story they would like to tell at trial, I think. But I believe if he goes to trial, and who knows how strong the proof is, but if he goes to trial, they probably won't be able to get that in under the rules of evidence. So it'll be a straight up, did he join the conspiracy? And the guy in Florida will almost certainly have to be a witness, and the cross-examination of him will be the main event. But now the focus is on, what a bad guy or sort of bad guy or, kind of fellow traveler bad guy Abrego Garcia is, as opposed to what dereliction and unconstitutional conduct and evasion and refusal to face their mistakes and rectify them was the United States. Instead, this effort, and it strikes me very possibly a successful one, we'll see, is to transfer the focus to him, Abrego Garcia, his possible criminal offenses. If they convict him, he'll serve time here. They've made that clear, after which they would deport him, and that would be an easy matter. And of course, they wouldn't be so stupid as to not give him due process. So that's their big, they think, reversal. And their big kind of ultimate embrace of the Trump narrative and not the legal narrative with this indictment in the Middle District of Tennessee. So he's back in the States now. He will, I'm sure, be arraigned shortly in the Middle District of Tennessee and probably not get out of jail. And now the focus will be on his trial and the charges against him, which again are a substantive count of transporting unlawful migrants, picking them up in Texas, bringing them into the interior, and this joining the conspiracy and all that entails. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.